Welcome, everyone. Man, oh man, what a beautiful holiday season we had. Season's almost over. 2025 is almost here. Playoff spots are being locked as we speak as we speak now. And man, oh man. But I hope all my viewers had a great holiday. On this show, we had a lot of fans join us from different teams. We had Giants fans, Eagles fans, Cowboy fans, Steelers fan, including myself, also Seattle fan. But today, for the first time, we have a Houston Texan diehard fan joining us, Mr. Andre Flood. How you doing there, brother?
I'm good. I'm good. How you doing? How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good, buddy. I know your Christmas day was ruined, and I want to let's kick it over to you, man. Yeah, Houston Texans, bro. What happened? 2 points against the Baltimore Ravens?
What happened? So just from what it looked like, CJ Head ain't been in the game ever since Tank got hurt. CJ missed some very easy, easy throws that he'll usually hit on a good day. And then it's just the same problem we've had the majority of the year. Offensive line. They cannot block. If it's too much pressure. The pressure has happened way too often. We allowed 5 sacks that game, punted the ball 6 times, and then we shoot ourselves in the foot with penalties.
Okay. So you guys already clinched the playoffs. How
Sack.
high are you? Yeah, and he clinched the divisional spot, meaning you get a home playoff game in Houston. How high are your hopes for the playoffs?
So as of right now, with the teams that are in, I think out of all the teams that clinch, with the Chargers just having clinched today with their win over New England, the only two teams I think we have a solid chance at beating are the Steelers and the Chargers. We beat the Bills earlier this year, but at that point we were a different team. We were healthier, and they also were a different team. They hadn't started their run. Josh Allen hadn't found his groove. So I wouldn't see us beating them again. So right now, as it stands, we would play the Steelers, I believe. And
Yeah.
I'm not too bad at that matchup. That's one I could have some fun watching. We might be able to squeak by because y'all haven't been playing as well put together as some of these other teams.
Okay. Talking about y'all, you want to be y'all. Russell Wilson. I would take Russell Wilson over CJ Stroud in the playoffs.
Well, yeah, from an experience standpoint, yeah, we're CJ's as of right now, his career is just 1-1 in the playoffs. He got a good win last year against the Browns, and then we took a tough loss against the Ravens. So I definitely don't want to see them in the playoffs if we do make it past the first round. But Russ, he hasn't been playing too hot as of late. It's
Thank
been
you,
kind
man.
of
That
up and down.
that brings me to my next point. Uh, Kansas City Chiefs came to Pittsburgh Christmas Day and gave them an ass whooping, a typical
Yeah.
old fashioned ass whooping. And now Steelers lost three in a row. They lost to Baltimore. Sorry, they started off losing to Philly. They lost to Baltimore. Now they lose to Kansas City. Three Super Bowl teams right here. Three. And before they were projected to win the division, even have a shot at the bye. Which that was going to be a long shot, but I have a chance to win the division though. That was projected heavily. Now they're 0-3. Ravens have everything in control. No longer Steelers control. What do you think about the Steelers, man? Now that they're going 0-3 in this the last 10 days.
Yeah, that their 0-3 happened at a very bad time, especially with it being so close of a race between them and Baltimore, and their last game is against Cincinnati. And Cincinnati is going to play hard because they are in the hunt for one of those last wild card spots. So Cincinnati, I think if Cincinnati wins tonight and then a couple teams take a couple losses and they win out,
Yeah.
they have a slight chance at making it.
Okay.
So I think they would need the Colts and the Dolphins to lose, and then they would have to win out, of course, beating Denver and then beating the Steelers in the following week. So I think the
Okay.
Steelers started that slump at the worst time, but it is y'all had three tough games in a real tough time span, especially kicking it off with the Eagles, who have been running through a lot of teams. And then the Baltimore rivalry games are always tough, and those are always going to be tough wins or tough losses. And then somehow, some way, the Chiefs are just on another incredible tear, looking for that three-peat.
That's for sure. Man, I don't know what Russell been doing, man. Russell, you were hot, bro. At the beginning of the season, when Mike Tomlin tossed you in, you were getting the job done. And when you were supposed to come and play against these three heavy hitters, at least if you won against one of them again, like Baltimore, like come on, bro. You were through the game, you threw a pick and fumbled the ball, which made the Baltimore win the game. Same thing, Kansas City started doing turnovers. Same thing you did against Philly, turnovers. Like, bro, come on now. I don't know, man. I don't see the Steelers team going far in the playoffs. As much as you know, I'm a big Steelers fan. I got my table towel at work. You see it all the time. I don't see the team making it far, man. Especially because with all the talent that's in the AFC is not easy. The AFC is definitely harder than the NFC, without a doubt. And I don't see them going that far. But did you hear the rumor that they're planning to give Russell Wilson $150 million contract at the end of the season? Do you think that's
Yeah,
a
I
good
did
idea?
see that they wanted to extend him. I didn't
You
see
think,
that price point, but I saw that they. That's crazy price. That is a crazy price.
especially since Denver's still paying him?
Yeah, he
I
hey
mean,
he came up. He came up. He got some good money.
that's for sure. But I think the Steelers should learn the lesson from the Atlanta Falcons, who got to bite a big chunk of money when they got to release Kirk Cousins. I don't think Steelers should give him that contract. That's too much money, and I don't think that's a smart idea at all.
Yeah, but the Falcons kind of shot themselves in the foot because one at the in the off season they said, "Hey, we aren't going to pursue Lamar,"
Yeah,
and then went and gave Kirk Cousins the bag coming off a Achilles injury, and then what was their pick? Eighth overall pick.
yeah,
They draft a quarterback.
yep,
Like that whole process just didn't make sense in my head. I'm like, if you're planning on drafting a quarterback that high, why sign Kirk Cousins to that major deal that you signed him to? Like they could have
def-
gave him a decent bag for 1 or 2 years, let Penix grow under, learn a little things from Kirk Cousins, but now it's like that it makes no sense in the long run.
Especially without a doubt. Like now, if you look because of Tampa losing last week, Atlanta Falcons got everything under control now with the playoff spot of winning that division. Like, and now you about to take a big money hit. I don't know why they didn't learn the lesson. They didn't learn from what Denver did with Russ. Denver gave all that money to Russ, and they had to bite the bullet. Now Falcons about to do the same thing. Now, come on, Atlanta, you guys need to learn your lesson at some point, man. I know you got choked the Super Bowl away. I understand that, but come on now, you gotta learn your lesson one day or another. Um,
Yeah,
yeah. So let's see what happens. Definitely, they didn't learn their lesson, and now they're gonna learn it the hard way. All right, now let's now. But do you think before we go to the next team, do you think they should keep Fields or go with Russ next year?
they can go with Russ next year and still keep Fields. I wouldn't give Russ a major extension,
Okay.
especially with Fields not playing bad this year.
Yeah.
Give him a little bit more time to develop and then kind of smooth transition from Russ and the Fields. So I would keep Russ around for another 1 or 2 seasons, but the money would have to make sense for me to do that. So it all depends on what Russ is looking for as far as those numbers for an extension. I wouldn't do anything too crazy like 50 mil a year.
Yeah. Definitely without doubt. And if I'm Fields, I'm not going to no other team that has a losing record after this year. I'm gonna go somewhere where at least have some good future. A lot of people saying he should go to New York Giants. That would be a career suicide going to the New York Giants. The New York Giants have a lot they need help with.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I definitely wouldn't want to go to the Giants, but I doubt the Giants would even want him just seeing where they are as far as Draft positioning, they're looking like they'll have the number one overall pick as long as they lose out. So I wouldn't even go ahead and do anything with Justin Fields unless I was them and I had my eye on a guy like Travis Hunter.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
you get Travis Hunter, you already have Malik Neighbors, and then you pair them with a quarterback that has some capabilities, you're pretty good. Or even take Travis Hunter, number one overall, go through one more losing season, and then bring Arch Manning into New York like they had his uncle. And then, hey, one man in
Family
brought
opinion.
Super Bowls, maybe another man can do the same. But
Let's see
right,
what happens.
if what Coach Prime says is true, then Shador's a shoe in to go to New York. But I don't know how true that is. But just based off his word, that's what's happening.
Okay. It's definitely gonna be interesting. A lot of things we're seeing without a doubt, especially with the Giants thing. Um, now that's gonna be an interesting kind of scenario. So if we watch football, we saw Chicago Bears play the Seattle Seahawks. I gotta
So,
say, man, I don't know what the hell was in that coach's head in Chicago. Even the quarterback was looking at his coach like, "Well, what are you doing? What are you calling timeout for? Why are we going for fourth down?" They say, "Okay, we're gonna punt it." They call a time. Oh yeah, let's go for it. Like, bro, you should know the bet you're gonna go for it.
yeah, but that's Chicago. That's Chicago for you. And that's why, like, even with the move this all season, I really didn't like them getting rid of Fields because honestly, in my eyes, he never really got a fair shake just based off the fact that every year he was in a different situation. Y'all didn't put any pieces around him, never was any consistent coaching. But the one moment you start building pieces and putting pieces in Chicago, they go ahead, get rid of him, draft Caleb. Now you can't protect Caleb. Your coach is still terrible. So yeah, Caleb is in a better position than Justin was, but it's like with this, I can coach better than that.
Yeah, without I can coach. I coach black football, and I don't know how to go better than that at that point. Especially the way that coach is going. That's another situation that's gonna be good. And I heard they say rumors has it Pete Carroll might be the head. Pete Carroll's looking at the team. He wants to go coach over there in Chicago. You think that'd be a good
That'd
fit?
be a decent fit. Just thinking of how their defense is set up with
Okay.
just a little bit more coaching up, a little couple more pieces, you could get a Legion of Boom esque defense. Not as great, but with the pieces that they have there, you can get something like that. And then they already have a pretty high power offense as far as pieces. It's
Okay.
just that last piece they need, honestly, is a coach, and they need to tighten up that offensive line because I was looking at some lowlights of their offensive tackle, that left tackle earlier. He is not good at the game of football.
Definitely, man. A lot of offensive lines are horrible, man. A lot of O lines are bad. Houston Texans offensive line is shot. Steelers offensive line is horrible. What else we got? Bengals is horrendous. The poor guy
Yes,
Burrow runs for his life every
it's so
time.
many teams that are an offensive line away from taking that leap into being a real good team.
Yes. Talking about offensive line, this leads us into our next team, the Philadelphia Eagles. Jalen Hurts is still in concussion protocol, and they're going with the backup QB. So, seeing the way Jalen Hurts' situation is going out, do you think Philadelphia Eagles should now bench Barkley to just to make sure he stays healthy, even though he's away 260 yards away, 260 yards away from breaking that record?
So honestly, I keep Barkley in
Okay.
because it's two divisional games where they play the Cowboys this week and then the Giants the following week, I believe.
Yeah.
So without that starting quarterback, you kind of have to give it to your running back. Just okay, here you go, Saquon, do what you can, and kind of let Saquon take over the show. so you don't have to put the ball in a backup's hands in late game situations, kind of like what happened with the against the Commanders. The Commanders gave them so many opportunities to seal the deal, just drop passes, bad plays, kind of made them lose that game. But I just say, hey, when in doubt, just run the ball. They
Definitely.
could, with their offensive line, they could definitely get similar production or good enough production with
Yeah.
their backup. But I would give Saqoun a couple decent amount of carries in that first half, see how he's pacing.
Yeah.
And then if it looks like he's pacing to break that record, I keep him in. If not, I'm like, all right, is it really worth trying to get a record when you might get hurt going into the playoffs? So I would kind of play it week to week. This week, I'm definitely playing him, see what he does in the first half, and then it's a judgment call from there.
Definitely would have done. Plus, I was definitely happy to see. I gotta get this off my chest. I was so happy to see the Washington Commanders beat them, man. It made my day, my weekend, and holiday feel so much special. Seeing the Washington Commanders beat them. Secondly, I don't know, man. After this game, if they clinch that divisional last spot, I'm definitely benching Barkley in the next game. He's not playing at all against the Giants. I'm sorry, Barkley. I understand you want to break a record, but records get broken every year. You might have the record this year, and some other running back come back and next year and break that record. So
Yeah.
I don't. So like the guy from the Jets, Gary Gaslio, he was mad that his record got broken. But it's a record at the end. The records are meant to be broken.
And
So
Eric Dickerson already said he doesn't want Saquon to break his record anyway.
who
And then
cares?
I look at it like, okay, I understand. I wouldn't want my record to be broken anyway. Like either I'm like, okay, this is my record. I kind of want to keep it as long as I can. But then with the way the game is now and them having an extra game to get a shot at your record just kind of feels crazy to me. I feel like there should be a 16 game season record and then the 17 game season record just to kind of show the difference because doing it in 16 games is just a little bit different than having a whole extra 4 quarters of football to play.
Okay. Let's see what happens, man. We're gonna see it tomorrow, man. We're gonna see them go get the Dallas Cowboys, who just also announced that CD Lamb is done for the year. They're shutting
Yeah.
him down. I mean, they're gonna get Dak the year back. They got a lot of. You never know with the original matchup. You can never know which way the game's gonna go. Eagles
Mm-hmm.
turned the Washington Commanders turned over the ball 5 times and still somehow came out with the win. So that scenario, you never know who's gonna win. But thank you, Andre, for coming out, my brother. And hopefully see what your Texans do in the playoffs. And appreciate you taking your time out today, man.
Appreciate you for having me. Let's go
Thank you, bro.
Texas.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?